Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Who's feeling in the holiday spirit tonight? Awesome, I love it. The vibe, the electricity out there was amazing. My name is Jay LaPlante. I'm the artistic director of Doc NYC. And welcome to our 16th edition and our centerpiece screening of The Merchants of Joy. I can't tell you, I've been so excited for this screening for weeks, and it's finally here, actually years, because I first met Celia a couple of years ago. She told me about this project, and I'm so excited to bring her up in a couple of minutes. But before I do, I'd just like to make a couple of announcements. I'd like to thank our sponsors. First of all, our major sponsors of the festival are Apple Original Films and HBO Documentary Films. Our supporting sponsors are National Geographic Documentary Films and Netflix, as well as our leading media sponsor, 13. Our major media sponsor is Variety, and our supporting media sponsor is IndieWire. One thing is very important, voting is very important in New York, and we have an audience award at this festival. So I'd like all of you to participate in voting after the screening. You can find the instructions on your ticket stubs, printed and electronic, and you can vote all the way up until November 22nd, which is the end of the in-person festival, or just a couple of days afterwards. So we have a lot of special people in the audience tonight. But first, I want to thank Amazon for their amazing sponsorship of this screening. This is a Prime original film, and I'm so delighted to bring up director and producer Celia Aniskovich. Truly a Christmas spirit.
Because I have cried about 15 times today, so I'm going to try to not cry right now. Thank you all for being here tonight. For those who know me well, you know just how many times over the last 3 years, and yes, it took 3 years to make this film, it felt like this film might never get made. Many of the people responsible for the countless Christmas miracles that it took to get to this night are here. I would like to start by thanking them. Epic Magazine, Boat Rocker, Artist Equity, Amazon, our core crew, Carrie, Zoe, Vera, yes, and my endlessly forgiving family, Joe, Goose, Mom, Dad, Emmy. For not just understanding why I had to miss every single holiday in order to make this film, but for also encouraging me to bet on myself and keep going, even when everyone else was telling me that I was crazy. This is not a celebrity biopic. It's not a true crime drama. And therefore, it's the kind of film that doesn't get made much these days, let alone find distribution. It is not lost on me that there are probably countless filmmakers in this room who have tried to get films like this made and not succeeded. To them, I'd like to say, keep going. The Merchants of Joy is a story about the people who build the magic that the rest of us take for granted. They are the true heroes of Christmas. Each December, while we rush through the city, they turn sidewalks into forests. They work through cold, exhaustion, and uncertainty, all to give strangers a small piece of wonder. In a culture so often defined by crisis, division, and spectacle, I hope The Merchants of Joy reminds you that joy is not naive, joy is brave. It's a way of insisting on our shared humanity. It's something we can all make for each other, again and again, even when the world gives us every reason not to. This film is a love letter to the Tree families featured in the film, who will be seeing it tonight alongside all of you for the very first time. To the city of New York, the greatest city in the world. And to the quiet, stubborn belief that joy still matters. I hope for the next 90 minutes you feel that joy. Finally, this is the only time a live audience will get to see this film before it arrives on Amazon in December. So I'd like to give you all a little extra piece of Christmas magic to take with you by sharing a secret that Big Greg shared with me while we were making this film. And when the lights come up and you step back onto the streets of New York, I hope you carry this profound yet simple idea in your heart for all of your days. Anyone can be Santa, any day they choose. Thank you.
Please stick around after the screening. We'll have Celia back up here to have a conversation and a Q&A. So for now, enjoy the Merchants of Joy. Director, producer, Celia Aniskovich. She's bypassing the scale. I love that. I feel like I just got the first Christmas present of the year. Do you feel the same way? What a gift this movie is, and I really feel it could only be made by someone with a deep love of Christmas. Guessing, just wild shot in the dark. But how did your love of Christmas sustain this project and make this project what it is through all what you experienced?
So I will answer that. If you don't mind, can I call out some people before we do?
Course,
okay, I want to call out two groups of people. Anyone who worked on the film in any capacity, could you please stand? There are a lot of you here tonight. Can our tree families please stand? Okay, to answer the Christmas question, I have to start by saying I am the eldest daughter, and for all the eldest daughters in the room, you will know how hard it is to say this. But the reason this film happened, really, is because of my mother. And because she was the first of about 25 people within 24 hours after the article got published in Epic magazine, who sent me the article and said, this seems like all of the things you love in one place, you have to make this. And then it turned into, and we can get into it, but 3 years of trying to figure out how this film gets made. The Tree families know all too well, because not only was I trying to direct the film, I was driving our crew vehicle, I was taking calls trying to get money to make the film as we were doing it. So it's, when you say how did it sustain you, it's the only thing that sustained me. I will tell any jaded New Yorker, I've now been here for 15 years, spend Christmas on the streets of New York, basically we spent 26 straight days on the street. You will never want to go anywhere else. You will never have a jaded bone in your body again. Even when you're filming at 30 Rock, even when you're filming, if anyone remembers the Tree families, I know do, 2023 it rained almost every day. It's still, there was magic every day. There's so much. Our first assembly was 5.5 hours long that didn't make it into the film because there was so much magic. So it was very easy to say sustained.
Oh, I love that. And, there's so much I learned. I've bought Christmas tree. I've only been in New York for 4 years. Not jaded yet, but I bought my Christmas trees. And, I had no idea what did you learn from, you read the article when you started making the movie and getting to know the protagonists. What did you learn? Can you tell us?
I learned so much, and I felt really dumb. I don't know how many New Yorkers in here tonight felt this way, but I just woke up one day and all the trees were there, and I didn't really think much about how they all got there. But you do, as a New Yorker, you wake up one day and they've literally built cities overnight. That was one of the best parts of making the film, was to get to be there in that overnight shift of when all of the trees arrive. I learned not too many trade secrets. You guys were really good in not telling me the trade secrets. But I think I learned a lot about the ins and outs. I learned that really not anybody can do this. You kind of, as I think little Greg says, kind of have to be born into this. It's really a family thing. And to know that just brought me so much joy. So it was really incredible to learn, yes, again, the nuts and bolts, but like all the traditions that everyone has was really magical.
Ah, great. And I love how you edited the film together and you're moving us back and forth from the different families. I was wondering, while you were putting the film together, what did each of the families come to represent to you? Because they all have a different role in the film, and I was just wondering how that came to you in terms of story-wise and building the mosaic.
They all do have a very different role to play, and I am grateful that you're all so different. All of you, 4 families and Kevin, who are in here, are all so different. I think, for me, the Nashes represent that legacy and tradition, and they are not exaggerating when they say every member of their family has touched a tree in some way. And that was a beautiful thing again, we got really lucky this year as well that we were there the year that they passed it down, right? Like, that was an incredible thing to get to witness. George, I think you got more laughs than anybody, and that's what you wanted. There was a running joke between Big Greg and George that the film should be called, well, Big Greg wanted to call the film mostly about Greg. And every time I saw George, he asked, do I have more airtime, or does Greg have more airtime? So I loved that we got that comedy in there. Heather, where are you? I love it. Heather can be a tough nut to crack. When I first met her, I thought maybe she doesn't like me very much. I was like, and I realized like she's tough, and as people who know me, I can be tough, and you gotta be tough right back. She's running a business, she's not trying to make my life easier, and that was an incredible thing. I think in so many ways, Heather embodies a New Yorker. As one of her workers said, she'll scream at you that the tree's in the wrong place, and then pick you up and get you a meal and help you. And that to me is a New Yorker, right? Like, we are kind, we are not always nice, right? But that's important. Big Greg. It's probably evident by this film that all of these families became family to me. You don't live on the street with people and spend time with people in this way without them becoming family. Big Greg is Santa. Little Greg is taking on that role now. To me, they represent, and Big Greg represents everything that is wonderful and good about Christmas. And it was, I've said this to all of you, and it's true, the honor of my life to get to tell this story, and I just feel so lucky. I will say, before Greg passed, on his birthday no less, which is such a thing for him to do, to make sure that we're celebrating him even when he passes, he got to see it and screen it with his family, so he did get to see the film.
I would love, to open the conversation to all of you and have you share in this experience of this beautiful world premiere. I'm just going to ask another couple of questions and I'll come out to you. I just wanted to ask you, though, if you do want to participate in this process, to just keep it to one question and just to be as succinct as you can so that we can get to as many people as possible. But I loved what you said at the beginning of the film about, this is not the kind of film that gets through and gets to be a success, and you made a really beautiful comment about filmmakers who are trying to tell these kind of very human stories. Could you just talk about the risks that you took in the early days of putting this film together? I've seen your other work, and this film really feels risky in so many ways, and almost like the film you were born to make. But
that's very kind. So I sat with Arthur Spector from Epic Magazine, who sadly cannot be here tonight because he is making somebody else's dreams come true on a film in Korea. But he sat with me. The film came out. I said, I have to make this film. It was a couple days before, the article came out. I said I had to make this film. It was a couple days before Christmas. And I was awful to poor Arthur. I was like, I need to get on the phone right now. No other director can do this. And he was like, it's Christmas, leave me alone. And I was like, just one Zoom. And I got on the Zoom, and he had a bunch of, despite being Jewish, he had a bunch of Christmas trees in the background. And I was like, I think I've reached the right person. So sort of on a handshake, he said, go for it. And so February of that next year, 2023, I met Big Greg for the first time, who, as the rest of the Tree families know, then called all the rest of you and forced you to talk to me, which was very kind. And I thought, I'll spend a year getting to know these people, and then I'll just make a movie at Christmas. I'll film at Christmas. And I learned that Christmas is a 365-day-a-year sport. And in February, Greg said, well, I buy all my Christmas decorations for the season in 3 days. So if you want to come, you better start. And so I self-funded a first shoot, which was not my intention. And then as I learned, again, Christmas is like a sports season. And as you saw, the film is mostly verite. You can't not film because then you miss the thing and you can't go back. So I kept shooting and I kept shooting and I kept shooting. And my, again, very gracious family watched me max out credit cards, watched me take loans. I do not recommend that to other filmmakers in the crowd. But there was just something about day 2 of filming. I know it's in a different place in the film, but day 2 of filming is when Greg got that call from Sloan Kettering on camera. And he looked at me and he said, well, now we're definitely making the film. And it really felt, like I couldn't stop. It felt like also this film, and I know this sounds cheesy, but like this film needed to happen, it was meant to happen. My tireless agent at the time, Julia Bodner, who's sitting right there, would talk to me at 2 in the morning, making sure we tried to find someone. And then I had a lunch with Jack Turner, who I know is back there somewhere, from Boat Rocker. Literally, and my crew knew this, right? Like, I'm driving the car as we're filming, so they're hearing me take all the calls on speakerphone about the fact that, like, I'm not gonna be able to pay their invoices as we're filming. And so we started December 1st knowing that I probably wouldn't be able to pay my net 30 invoices to my crew if we didn't find funding. Talk about pressure, right? And I had a lunch in Brooklyn with Jack Turner from Mad Door, and then met Todd Lubin at Boat Rocker, and I said, I need to pay my crew invoices, and they said, well, it's Christmas, we're in, which is the greatest thing a filmmaker can ever hear. It's Christmas, the deals, we gotta get them closed. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys got me money to pay my invoices before the deal even closed, which is another Christmas miracle. I mean, there were just people at every step who said, this film has to get made, these stories have to get told. I also just have to say, like, the risks I took are huge, but my crew, Zoe, Vera, and Carrie, the 3 who are with me every minute of every shoot. To be clear, that was our entire crew. Other than the days around Christmas where we had multiple crews running because it was Christmas. But other than that, it was the 3 of them through everything. And they, they were buying me coffee as they were shooting. Whenever I see that Brooklyn Bridge shot, I think of Carrie's poor fingers and like numb on the Brooklyn Bridge. There is 2 archive shots in that entire film. Carrie shot everything. Everything is original footage. Yeah. And then, again, talk about the moment's magic, and I promise I'll shut up in a second, but I just have to call out some more people. Usually as a documentary filmmaker, when you call people and you say, hey, I need you to sign all these releases, I need you to let us in, they're like, hell no. Doors flew open. We wanted to film A Christmas Mass. Doors flew open. All of those we wanted to film at Bread's Bakery. We wanted to film chocolate babka being rolled, which you'll get to taste tonight at the after party. We wanted to film red and green bagels. There's a pizza place that is my college pizza restaurant in the Bronx in there. We wanted to feel like, even if just for a millisecond, you might have seen something that is your tradition in there. Whether it's a Puerto Rican paramba, a Kwanzaa celebration, the endless Christmas celebrations, that just for even a millisecond, you might have been like, wait, that's what I do. Because that's New York, right? That's how we all celebrate here. Deviated from your question completely.
No, that was beautiful, and it's so beautiful to hear about all the angels that were involved in this production. They're not all on the top of the trees. Okay, so reminder, if you want to ask a question, please keep it to one succinct question. And if you just want to put up your hand, I will call on you. And, ooh, right there with the Santa Claus beard. Yeah, you. Okay. I bought them, well, I don't want to get shot, so I'm gonna not tell you where I bought them from, but I bought them in Manhattan on an avenue that is numbered 6. Okay, right here.
I don't
What's
believe, he asked if Kevin's here. I don't believe Kevin is here.
Okay. Oh, in the back over there.
I just wanted to say thank you for representing the Christmas tree business the way you did. It was really heartwarming.
Oh, thank you. Fantastic. Oh, over here, yeah.
So it seems like in the movie there are a couple different themes going on. It seems like at the very beginning that there was more of a sort of emphasis on sort of the slightly cutthroat nature of the business.
I'm just going to repeat the question really fast in case you didn't hear it in the back, but he was just asking about the sort of two themes or two energies of the film. It starts off as kind of a business drama, a lot of cutthroat type of a drama, and then it evolves into more of a vibes character film. So how did you modulate that?
It was probably the hardest part of the film, and you know, also the awful part of making a film by yourself without a distributor and without all that stuff is that you're making a film by yourself. The hard part when lots of people get involved is lots of people have different opinions about what the film should be. I just have to call out again, like, Boat Rocker, Epic, Amazon never asked me to make a film that I didn't want to make, which is really rare. And I didn't want to make a film that was tree mafia. I was worried, Merchants of Joy, which is the tagline for the Nashes that they've had for 50 years, I was sure someone was gonna make me change that title. Like, it was gonna be called The Five Families of Christmas, it was gonna be called Tree Wars. No one asked me to change that film, that title. So it was a balance. I knew that there would be people in the audience, and I'm sure you all feel this way. Some of you are probably like, I wanna know more about how much it costs, and I wanna know more about the business side of it, and some of you probably wanted to know more about different things. Again, 5.5 hour assembly, a lot of stuff. I felt like it was important to get a look behind the curtain, some of the things that I didn't know, which is some of the business, it's a business. But it felt really important to me to land the plane talking about what is actually important, which is the tradition and the memory and the reality that we don't buy a tree for the tree, we buy a tree because we remember those moments with our families. And I will say, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, every time I bring up this film, someone tells me their tree story. Everyone has a tree story, and it's amazing.
I couldn't resist myself. We have time for maybe a couple more quick questions. We'll go with you. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
What is the thing that you're saddest you have to cut?
What is the thing you're saddest you had to cut?
I was thinking about this actually on the way here. So there's one thing I didn't get to film because it never snowed. I wanted to film a slow-mo shot of Big Greg falling and doing a snow angel. That was like on my shot list stream. And the thing I had to cut my favorite Christmas song, which is Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues, not because we couldn't use it, but because we cut our sort of Christmas Eve. Also, it talks about being in a drunk tank on Christmas Eve. It wasn't really the vibe. But I love that song, and I was pretty sad to cut that. There's also just so many, I mean, the moment with the homeless man in the shed with Heather, like we were filming, and West 4th, which is where that is a pretty dangerous area now, and like there are night guards there, Georgie Porgy, who's there, will tell you. I was like, what the hell's gonna happen? There were so many of those. Like we had moments where we were like, we can't put another one in. There are just so many of these incredible moments. So yeah, there are a lot on the cutting room floor.
Awesome. Well, I have one last question. I'll take the last question, but if Big Greg could be here with us at the world premiere today, what's the one question you'd want to ask him?
Asked him a lot of questions. Okay, I'm gonna give my true answer, but then I'm gonna give a better answer if that's okay. My true answer is that the only person I've ever met who's a bigger New York Mets fan than me is Big Greg. So I would ask him if the Mets are gonna win the World Series this year. I don't think I'd have a question. I think when I was thinking about Big Greg tonight. Little Greg and I took a photo like this, which you may see in the Doc NYC photos. Big Greg will teach you that when you take a photo like this, you lose 30 pounds. So always make sure to do that. I think I would really like to tell Big Greg that his son is doing an incredible job.
Thank you so much for sharing this film with us. This was a dream come true to host the world premiere of your beautiful film. And thank you for being here. Thank you to Amazon. And remember to vote. This film is eligible for the Audience Award, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So.